Well, we got it. Got it. All 8 pallets of our 60-pound bags of Sakrete for our dry pour in the living room and the bedroom. We weren't supposed to get it till Wednesday. It's Monday today, so yeah, we got it. Yay! So we did get all 8 pallets a couple days ahead of what they told us they were going to do for this final delivery. It wasn't supposed to be delivered till Wednesday. They called us this morning and they delivered it this morning probably about 11 o'clock. So we're pleased about that they got here a little bit earlier than the last date that they said. Everything looks like it's good. We'll just have to see as we dig through these pallets of dry concrete. So in the meantime, we were not planning on it actually being here on Monday. We were planning on it for Wednesday because that was our 3rd delivery date set up. We're glad it's here, but we thought let's go ahead and get set up for our LP gas. We're going to have gas doing the hot water heater for the bathroom in the house, and then we're going to do a gas range in the kitchen when we get the kitchen built. So we thought, why waste this time if the weather's not too good for us to do some stuff on the outside. It was good this morning, but then of course at noon it just turned to wind. But anyway, so Don is out there with a ditch witch. He is making a ditch for the lines 2 feet down. We're using that flexible yellow Home Plus or something. Anyway, we're going to use that and all the attachments. It's kind of like PEX for gas. Anyway, looks simple, hopefully. So we'll get it all set up. We'll get the leak check done, and then we'll call the company that we've chosen to bring out the tank and give us a load of LP gas. So that'll be exciting as well. Okay, we've got this one ready to go. I'm not going to work on this by myself. I'm going to wait for Dawn to get back. I'm going to go ahead and make sure this is level. This first frame that we're going to do for the dry pour, we're going to make sure it's level. We're not worried if it's not perfectly square because we're just going to keep meeting up against it. Make sure that everything is level. Make sure the gravel inside the area is compacted with the tamper. I'm going to go ahead and build a frame while he's gone for in this room. And since we have really nice weather, we originally had planned to bring the concrete bags in here to store, and that's why we have the pallets in here. So we've got at least a week of good weather. We're going to take these pallets out, and if it turns out that we haven't finished in that week, we will put the pallets back in and bring the bags in if there's any kind of a threat for bad weather. You can see I'm not wearing the right shoes for this, especially tamping, because I tend to tamp my feet. But anyway, just want to let you know, you do not need a gravel base to do a dry pour. We have the gravel in here. We originally had decided that we were going to do earthen floors throughout the house. We had so much trouble with that bathroom earthen floor that we did. I don't know where we went wrong exactly. Maybe not enough Portland cement in the mix. maybe because we didn't seal it, like with boiled linseed oil or any other kind of sealant before we started rolling around on there with the scaffold and with the drywall hoist and all that. And just over time, before we got the roof on, it didn't turn out the way we really wanted. And that's why we did the leveling compound and then put the vinyl plank flooring on that floor. So before we made the decision to do this dry pour, we had brought in a whole bunch of gravel because our plan was to still do the earthen floor. But when we found that Cajun Country Living video, the first one, and we watched all their dry pours now, we decided that was such a wonderful way to do this, get a nice floor. We wouldn't have to worry about too much. We could do it at our own pace. We can put all the dry material in there, close up the house, come back the next morning and start doing the mistings and the waterings. You know, it's not like you have to just do it all in one fell swoop. Also, I found a few videos about ready mix, the kind that comes wet in the big trucks. And we actually thought about having him come and just pour it through one of the doors in here. But the prices, the profits that they make, and a lot of times they don't even supply the help. It almost makes your stomach turn. So this is by far much more reasonable. I know we spent quite a little bit on all this dry concrete, and it's going to be, you know, we'll probably get tired of it by the time we're done. But I think it's going to be the most economical. I think we're going to have better results than if we did a wet pour and, you know, inexperienced, or even if we got experienced people in here to do it. You know, I think we're just going to have a better outcome with the dry pour than we would with any kind of a wet pour. Even if we mixed it ourselves, we'd still be having to mix it, put it in a frame, because there's no way we can mix enough for each room in one setting. So we would still have to be doing the framework. We'd probably have to leave the frames on even longer than 24 to 48 hours. And yeah, it would just take us forever, and we probably just want to kill ourselves by the end of it. But anyway, so I've got this level on both sides. That side is very close to level. We might have to do a little bit of work to make sure it's level there. Tamped all that in there. But like I said, you do not need gravel. You can direct pour onto dirt. The one recommendation that not only Cajun Country Living has made, but other people's videos that I have watched, or that we have watched, the one thing that they have made is make sure you're not putting it on grasses, weeds, any kind of plant material, because as that breaks down, it could cause some problems, especially have like large clumps. So put it on bare dirt. You might have to clear a space if you're doing this outside. But inside, like I said, we have the gravel in here. We're not going to take it out by any means, because then we'd have really deep floors. So we have probably about 3.5 to 4 inches of gravel in each room, bringing our floor up so that we can do about a 3.5 inch floor with a dry pour. We are not going to do rebar. This is not supporting anything other than people and furniture. So of course there's never going to be any heavy equipment in here, no cars, no trucks, no anything, because once this dry pour is done, we'll be really close to moving in. The only other thing it's going to have is the hoist for the drywall, ladders for the ceiling. You know, we got to put the insulation into the ceiling. We got to do the ceiling tiles on in each room. And of course the drywall, and then get our doors, and also get our doors in, our pocket doors. So that's where we're at. Like I said, Dawn's gone to take that Ditch Witch back, get a few more things that we need for that project. And so we got a couple of projects going on at the same time. So to keep any of the mix from just kind of sifting out from under any of the areas of the board, I'm going to take some of this rock that's already here and just push it up against the outside of the frame, since we're all level. Make sure we're still level after I did the tamping. So now I'm just gonna take this tiny little thing here, just push the rock up against the outside. If you were doing this outside on dirt, just put dirt there. One thing that Dawn and I have noticed, it's kind of mixed on whether or not people are actually staking their frames. Some people stake them, some people don't, and I think it just depends on your personal preference, how you feel the frame is going to handle the dry pour. Now it's different than putting a wet pour. Your wet pour is just going to push and it wants to push out because it wants to level, sort of. But with the dry pour, we're in charge of how that's leveling is happening. So I think, in my opinion, I don't think we are going to put any kind of stakes around the frame. We're going to see how these first couple of frames go. If they don't handle the way we want them to, then subsequent frames we may put some stakes in just to hold the framework where we want it while we're doing the dry pour. One thing too to keep in mind, if you do stake, because you're screeding this just like a wet concrete, you want those stakes to come down, either match the height of your frame or come down a little bit below the height of your frame so that it does not interfere with your screeding process. Only makes sense. Now I'm not worried about the rock that I'm pushing up against this frame. Once we get this done and we can remove the frame, that rock will be used in that next area that we're going to be doing the dry pour in. So it can all be spread back out. So one thing I do want to reiterate, and I think I do it on almost all of our videos, we're not professionals at this. A lot of this stuff is first time for us. This dry pour is the first time we're doing a dry pour. So it's not necessarily instructional as much as it is giving you the information that we have gleaned off of YouTube, gleaned off of other sources in our research on doing things like this. So just know it's not necessarily for educational purposes. If you want to compare it to other things, take things from our techniques versus other people's techniques, that's, you know, your call. The Cajun Country Living people are excellent at explaining why they do every step in the process. So if you're interested in a dry pour, like I said in last time's video, that's the people you want to watch. Cajun Country Living. Put it right here again. They're a lovely couple. They're in Louisiana. And they've discovered this dry pour thing. People are just taking off on it. You know, there are now just tons and tons and tons of dry pour. Like I said, there's also people trying to debunk. And you'll see people doing their own things with dry pour. Some people are stamping it, putting designs in it. Some people are making curved sidewalks with it. So there's even doing rebar within or some sort of metal reinforcement. I think Cajun Country Living also does one like that. And how they decide to do that, what they're going to use that particular concrete pad for, how that adds strength to it as well. So just remember, we're not professionals. We're just showing you what we're doing to build our house. Okay, our first dry pour. It isn't perfect, but we're going to go with it, and I'm sure that we'll get better over time. We've just got it at the powder stage. We're getting ready to do the first mist. Okay, Donna's going to turn on the water. We're going to do our first mist. And per the recommendations of Cajun Country Living, we're going to mist high, and so that a gentle mist falls onto the surface so that we don't disturb the surface. As soon as he's got it turned on, I believe it's on. I'm going to just spray over this way first. Ooh. All right, you coming in?
Daddy wants some attention.
Oh. All right, list number 1 done. Second misting. Keep it high. Ooh, see how it changes? All right, it's been an hour since the second misting. I'm going to take a feel of this. Oh, wow. It does feel firm. I can dent it just a little bit. So right now, it's time for its first shower. All right, time for a shower. Reset to shower. And then it's going to be 2 showers for every inch of depth. A 2x4 isn't truly 4 inches wide. It's 3.5. So it'll be 7 waterings. That's going to put us about midnight to be done with this. So that's not a big deal. First shower going on. All right. Oh, this is something. So we got some bubbles. That's a little interesting. Huh. That is a bit interesting. We have some bubbles that came up as I did the shower. I was able to just touch some and they just went down. There's one more here. I'm just going to lightly touch it and see if it goes down. I don't know that they would go down on their own. That was a bit unusual. I didn't expect that. If you've done a dry pour, and had that happen after your showers, or like with the first shower, I should say, let us know in the comments section below. But it looks like they've all, like I said, I touched a couple and they just kind of deflated. And it looks like that larger one has deflated. So I'm thinking it's really nothing to worry about, and probably will only happen if it does again after that first shower after the 2 mistings. So now another hour and then another shower. This is the floor this morning. We did our last shower at about midnight last night. And you can see there are these bubble things. Shoot. Not sure why that happened. So it's pretty solid. We're going to kind of have to see what we can figure out about the bubbles, because I have a feeling I'm going to go ahead and walk on it. And if I put some pressure on it, it's going to crush. So it could be because we have the gravel underneath. I just don't know. We'll probably sweep this off and see what really happens. You can see all these little spots. This is where some of the bubbling happened. And it wasn't like bubble, bubble, bubble. It just would swell up. And then at first, if I touched them, they would just go down. So we'll have to watch next time, see if we get the same problem. Like I said, it may be because we're doing it on top of the gravel that's been here for quite a while. It could just be because of the natural reactions of the concrete, because I don't know if you've ever noticed, but if you mix concrete, sometimes you get some bubbles happening as the chemical reaction occurs. So again, we're not professionals. This is our first pour. Not bad for the first one. So we will probably do some type of flooring over this if they all end up looking like this. We're going to just continue on with the dry pour. We had some challenges with this one. Trying to screed along this line back here was a bit of a challenge because a lot of little rocks would come out and interrupt the screeding. But like they say on Cajun Country Living, just screed, screed, screed. You know, just keep doing it until you get that nice powder on top. I'm sure a lot of people the first time have gotten a better result than this, but we're not displeased with it. It's not quite exactly what we wanted, but we're going to just continue on. And I'm sure over time we'll get better and better. It's not been 24 hours. About 3 o'clock this afternoon will be the 24-hour mark. We're debating on whether we'll take the frame off then or wait another 24 for a total of 48. We're inside where it's not going to be disturbed. So I think we probably could safely take the frame off at about 24 hours. So I just swept the top. You can see over here where one of those bubbles just collapsed and crushed away. This one hasn't done that. This one has. This one did. But like I said, we're not that concerned. We can always put flooring on it. Or we can always put leveling compound on it. Something to smooth out the top. So all in all, I'm going to say that this is a success. Our first time doing it, I think we did pretty well. And we're going, like I said, we're going to continue on with the rest of the house doing these small frames and trying to get this thing done. I'm thinking it may take us more than 2 weeks. Hopefully not, but it just might. It was a challenge. I think we'll have to do the process a little bit differently. So I think we'll just put, you know, a third of the bags in all at one end, screed that, add another third of the bags, screed that, and add the last third until we get down to the last one, and probably just hold off on the last one and add what we need, because we did have some extra in the frame. So anyway, that's it for this week's video. We thank you for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Any comments and questions in that comment section below, and we will see you next time. Bye.